T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hey there, hi there. For so many of you, it's the highlight of your week. That's what they tell me. You've been waiting all day, all week for Football Friday. That's what we have for you today. We have got a lot for all kinds of football fans, whatever variety you like. NFL, CFL, college football, you name it. We're going to mix some hockey in too. Hi. And another day with a very special guest, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, Mike Miller, is going to be coming up in hour two. But for your viewing pleasure, we welcome Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast today. Happy Friday, Kev. Are you ready for the weekend?
I am. Got a busy weekend. It's going to be fun. Lots going on.
Busy is good. And for me, it's going to be a lot of football watching. Let's start right there. Quick 6 show topics. I'm going to start with this. The NFL's Wildcard Weekend features a rematch of the 2022 NFC Championship game. 2 division rivals facing off. That's the Packers and the Bears. A team with a losing record playing a home game and 4 road favorites. There's 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and then a Monday nighter. Kev, so I'm going to ask you, you're the CFL is your thing. I like all levels of football myself. But what's exciting about Wildcard Weekend, there are many that say that it's the best weekend of the year in football. I think it's the second best weekend of the year. I say Banjo Bowl weekend is the best because it's ties in CFL, NFL, call it all of them. But there's always an upset on Wildcard Weekend. It's similar to quarterfinal day at the World Juniors or the first round of the college football playoffs. Or now this. So our poll question right out of the gate today is for EMJ Marketing as always, and it's, will there be an upset this weekend? And 100% of respondents saying yes. 100% say yeah. The question is finding the Easter egg in the house. That's the fun. How much of your weekend is going to be taken up with watching NFL wildcard playoff football?
Honestly, I'd love to say I'm going to be able to watch most of them, but as you know, when this show's over, all this stuff comes off my wall, and I'm getting ready to move. So I move on Tuesday. So Saturday, Sunday is packing day.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, have a radio on, and I know you'll be following it on the app and so forth. But these are the games, by the way. And what's interesting is, when it comes to betting, we've established I'm no betting expert, okay? I like making the picks, but I say don't take my advice. But just because you're at home doesn't mean that you're the favorite. For whatever reason, home field advantage in pro football hasn't become a thing anymore. You know, it used to be 60-40 home teams won. Then it became 50-50. And now it's like 60-40 road teams winning. And this weekend, 4 road teams are the favorites. So the LA Rams get it going. First game of the weekend at the Carolina Panthers. Saturday night, Green Bay at Chicago. I'll be gathering with Packers fans to watch that. The Packers are favored on the road. Sunday, a triple header. Buffalo Bills at Jacksonville, followed by San Francisco at Philadelphia. The LA Chargers at New England, and then Monday night. And I'm not a Steelers fan. I just put this on because I have it, and I bought it at Ultimate Fan Zone Moose Jaw. Steelers are home to Houston. That is my pick for the upset because the Steelers are home underdogs by 3 Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans. Off the top of your head, Kev, who do you think will be the upset this weekend, NFL Wildcard Weekend?
When you were going through it, the one that stood out was Buffalo. The Buffalo game.
Ooh, okay. So it's funny you say that because there's a sprinkling of NFL coverage. And trust me, I said we got a lot here for CFL fans and college football fans. We'll be getting to that after the break. But I really wish that junior hockey in Canada got the coverage that college football gets in America. And what I mean by that, like the players are the same age. It used to be amateur. It's really not anymore. College football is pro. But all they're talking about this morning on all the networks is last night's Fiesta Bowl, tonight's Peach Bowl, and then don't get me started about what's going on here in South Florida because the Miami Hurricanes are going to the national championship to be played in Miami a week from Monday. But what I'm saying is there hasn't been a lot of coverage of the NFL playoffs. I know that's very hard for people to believe, but it's all college football talk today. Did you watch any of the Fiesta Bowl last night, by the way?
I did, and if that kind of game doesn't get your blood going and you don't get excited, don't watch football. That was just a fun game to watch. Again, no skin in the game. I was just watching it for the fun of football, and holy, what a game. It had everything.
Yeah, and the Miami Hurricanes outlasted Ole Miss in the game. I tried to give CFL fans some reason to watch in Canada because Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback for Ole Miss, is on the Saskatchewan Roughriders protected list. But he was not all world last night, and he did not engineer Ole Miss to an upset. They lost, and Miami's going to the championship. But my point is there's been very little coverage of the NFL playoffs yet. I'm guessing that'll ramp up tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. But the one thing I did see is people are saying how much Kevin has just predicted a Bills loss at Jacksonville. And people are, you're not the only one. The pundits are saying, how will a loss affect Josh Allen's legacy? I'm like, that's what I hate about the media. I'll say hate. Hate's a strong word, but it's like, can we wait until they lose first before we talk about the impending effects of if it happens? But I understand that's sports talk, and that's the way it goes. By the way, we've got less than 2 minutes here, so just a little bit of a roadmap. Just to, believe it or not, we do have a roadmap on this show. I know that probably would blow everybody's mind to think that there was a little bit of order, but I'm not done yet with the CFL Players Association report cards, and I don't think you really are either. But was it this morning or yesterday morning? I feel like it was this morning. I was in the gym listening to my guy Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk, and he said the NFL owners hate the NFL Players Association report cards of the teams. And I'm like, well, if the NFL, for all the reasons we talked about yesterday, it makes them look bad. Do you think CFL owners are any different than NFL owners? They probably hate that report card that came out on Wednesday, Kev.
Of course they do. Anything that focuses a negative light on your team, you're not gonna like it. I mean, it doesn't matter what business you have. If there's a negative review on Google, we got to go, oh, what's wrong? Let's look at this. Magnify that by a million, and that's what you get, especially with the NFL. Now the CFL is the same. It's Yeah.
Well, I want to get into that. Coming back, we'll dig into it a little more. But the one thing, either Florio said it or his co-host Michael Hawley said, the owners don't like having the light shone in their face.
No.
Who does? But the thing is, when you do and you start addressing those issues, that's when you get better. But so few people want to do it, right? So anyways, and like I say, Argos coach Mike Miller coming up. A lot of fun stuff ahead here on this Football Friday. We'll be right back. You're watching live on the Game Plus Television Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
It's a Football Friday. I get particularly tickled at the people that write in here on a Football Friday on the Western Dodge text line, which, by the way, are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. And then they want to talk hockey, which they don't want to talk hockey, but Kirk in Toronto is watching on Game Plus TV. He writes in, he says, "Hey, Rod, the Leafs are on a heater." Oh, yeah, bravo. They beat Philly in overtime last night. I saw that. Bob in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, "Hey, Rod, I just enjoy your show so much. How about the Habs over Florida last night? Have a great weekend, my friend." Oh, thank you, Bob. That was my lock of the night. Panthers were supposed to win at Montreal last night, and they got motorboated by the Montreal Canadiens in the Centre Bell. So I don't want to talk about it, but thank you, Bob, for rubbing it in. Okay, Kev, I'm going to skip. Kevin the Medium's with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. He speaks to dead people. I think that's why we get along so well. We're skipping point 2, which was to be the NFL Coaches Carousel. I'll spend more time on that next hour when we go to air across Nevada. Let's go to the Canadian Football League, Kev. Again, this is point 3. I'm saying it, repeating it from yesterday. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, among the CFL's top teams last season, have earned the distinction of being its best franchise off the field. Hamilton received 5 A's and 5 B's in the Players Association report cards that were released this week. The top grades for the Tabbies came in football operations, facilities and equipment, strength and conditioning, team travel, and training camp. The B's were handed out for coaching staff, ownership, therapy, medical staff, nutrition, diet, and treatment of families. The Grey Cup champion Rough Riders also earned 5 A's, coaching staff, football ops, strength and conditioning, team travel, and training camp. Only 2 F's were given. The BC Lions in nutrition and diet, and the Montreal Alouettes for treatment of family. These report cards came from a 78-question questionnaire filled out by CFL players about their own teams. And I appreciate the back and forth that we had with our viewers yesterday on all of this. People said that I'm too cynical. I'm like, I don't really put any stock into this. Scale of 1 to 10, how much stock do you put into it, Kev?
Probably like a 5 or a 6. Like, you got to take it for what it is. It was a questionnaire given to the players and to evaluate each team. And they don't have to put their name on it. So you can say pretty much anything you want. If you got a bone to grind, you can grind it. And so, I mean, I'm not going to put it up there in an 8 or 9. I would in the mid somewhere. It's something you got to pay attention to. And I mean, we talked about it yesterday with the BC Lions. Amor Dorman Amar Doman is paying attention. He's rebuilding or renovating a facility that they're only going to be in a couple of years, spending millions and millions of dollars. Why? Because the players told him through this report card that our facility sucks. It's worse than a high school facility. Okay, let's fix it. Now he's fixing the whole nutrition thing. So does it work? Obviously it does for some teams. I hope they keep it up. I love it myself.
The report cards?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, by the way, the viewership's rising. It's a football Friday. I'm going to have to address a lot of your questions later once Kevin adjourns. A lot of them are NFL related, and this is the warm-up whereby it is supposed to be me and the co-hosts time to wrap. I appreciate bringing the viewers in, but we have 20 minutes later where I'll address all of your questions. It has to do with timing of some of the games in the NFL this weekend and the matchups and so forth. But here's the thing. Again, this is just opinion. People, don't get your panties in a knot. They do the report card, but they don't make it public. I mean, that's the one thing, because it makes the teams look bad. That's all. And I'll say it again for those that just joined us. The NFL does it too. And as I heard this morning on Pro Football Talk with my favorite host and analyst, Mike Florio, the owners hate it. They hate it. And I'm like, I just feel like we don't need to know that the Alouettes don't have the best facilities for players' families when they come to games, or the BC Lions don't have the best nutrition. How about that? How about if they just kept it under wraps? Or is that not palatable to you?
Well, then there's no, I'm going to use the word outside pressure to fix the issues. Because as a fan, I'm going to put my media hat away. And as a fan, I look and going, well, no wonder we're sucking on the field. We don't have the proper facilities to be able to prepare our players for the game. So I, as a fan, can voice my opinion online and hopefully push the owner to make changes. Now, would the BC Lions have gone and made those changes if it was kept quiet? We don't know. Who knows? I like it. I want to continue getting it. If nothing else, we're in January, beginning of January, and we're talking about the CFL. How effing cool is that? We didn't do that before, Rod. From November till May, there was very little CFL talk. Give us something. Give us something to talk about. This is perfect, in my opinion.
Well, right. And of course, this comes from the Players Association. It does not come from the league. It's further illustration to me that they're not really on the same page, which I respectfully say this. A couple of things here. Well, Eric in Vancouver writes in. He says, it's not a report card that affects the fans. # overblown. He's like, this isn't a big deal, says Vancouver Eric. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, it's easy to dismiss gut checks that are kept in-house. Oh, so basically if they complain but nobody knows, they won't do anything about it. Okay. The owners won't do anything about it if nobody knows. That's fair. That's fair. Vancouver Eric says, agreed, RP. Keep it internal. But again, Carlos just said, well, if it's kept internal, maybe the owners won't do anything about it because they're not publicly shamed. And I'll also say this. I mean, I love the Rod Squad. I love our viewers, but it's a football Friday. Can you please respect the fact that we're talking football? Okay, I love hockey as much or more than anybody, but it's called Football Friday. So keep the hockey comments for later, because we're not going to address that right now. Now, here's the other thing. I saw Mark Steven, the Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Stampeders, put this on Facebook the other day. He's like, these are the rules that will be implemented for 2026, because we know there will be some new rules. Right, you saw it? And I'm like, yes. So here's the thing with Mark. He's the voice of the Stampeders. So what's he do? Generate discussion in the offseason. And this was like on Tuesday. So I'm like, I don't want to think about that now. But then it popped up last night. I'm like, well, wait, that might be something to talk about Friday. You know? So through Google AI, this is what I came up with, Kev. For the 2026 CFL season, key rule changes focus on enhancing game flow and excitement, including modifying the rouge. This is what changes this upcoming year. No single point for a missed field goal or punt through the end zone unless it's brought out. But it's still awarded if the returner takes a knee or is downed in the end zone. Implementing the 30-second play clock rule, which incidentally, Mike Miller, the head coach of the Argos, is coming up next hour. I got to ask him about that. That is a massive change to 100 years of CFL football, Kev, and requiring team benches on opposite sides of the field. The goalpost field changes, they're not coming until 2027. So I'll say this again. This isn't something that I want to talk about on a Tuesday in January, but I will talk about it on a Football Friday in January.
Yes.
So these are pretty big changes. They really are. How do you think that they will go over?
You know what? When I first heard the Rouge rule change, I was like, "Oh no, it's the end of the world." So that's ours. That's our thing. That's the irrational fan in me. Once I got past that and actually looked at it, you know what? It's a good change to that rule because you can look over my shoulder. That man there made a career out of kicking the ball through the end zone and winning games. So great. I think that one's a great rule change. I agree with you. The 30-second clock, not so great because
35.
What do we do?
35.
What do we do in 35? What do we do in the last 3 minutes of the game? Nobody knows yet. Not even the commissioner. In November, when asked, he goes, "Oh, we're going to send that to the rule committee." Well, you got like 8 months before we play football and you're going to send it to the rule committee? Shouldn't have that been done beforehand? It's, to me, put that one to the side, let it go back to 2027 and really think about that one before you implement that one.
Ooh, okay. I'm trying to stay on point. You're bringing up a lot of delicious things here. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, now we can gripe about the CFL rule changes again. LOL. That's the thing. I don't want to hear this junk Monday to Thursday, but I'll do it on Fridays. And if you have a problem with I'm the gatekeeper, it's the Rod Pedersen Show. Therefore, I get to make the rules. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says that's why Mark Steven is a CFL Hall of Famer. That's one of the reasons why Mark is. He's just an all-around great guy and a tremendous broadcaster. I would like to think that's why he's in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. John in Edmonton says, I don't care about these rule changes like some people do. I just want to watch CFL. Is it June yet? Well, if you don't care, John, I encourage you to turn your television off right now. But Kevin, it's number one. I got a bang out of Mark Trestman when this was announced way back in October. We had just gone to air in Nevada. And I'm like, well, you used to be an offensive coordinator with the Raiders. It'd be a great tie-in for you to come on in Las Vegas. And you were, should be in the Hall of Fame of the Canadian Football League to talk about the rule changes. He was so upset that he couldn't do it. He goes, I need to calm down, Rod. Give me like a month. That's how angry he was. And so I did. Saw a side of Mark I didn't even know existed in terms of F-bombs and all the rest. And I'm like, well, he just doesn't like change. A lot of people don't. The coaches sure the hell don't. But you brought up rethinking some of these changes. Do you think in any universe the CFL owners go, oh, wait, maybe we won't move the goalposts. Maybe we won't shrink the field for whatever those reasons might be. Do you think they would walk back any of these, Kevin?
The only one I can see them walking back or modifying, and they won't walk it back, they'll call it modifying, a hybrid, if you will, is the play clock. It will take away a lot from our game. So I hope they do. I hope cooler heads prevail and they come up with something for that last 3 minutes, because you watch any CFL game, not any, but most CFL games, that's the most exciting part of the game. It's what makes the Canadian Football League so exciting. I'd hate to see it become 5 minutes left in the game and it's 4 points and yeah, that's a game over. We know that.
Well, I guess overall, you've been around me when I've been around Milt Stegall. Remember the Grey Cup in Vancouver? And I just tease his ass. It's so much fun bugging Milt, and because he gets so upset. But, his thing is this whole field goal missed going out of the end zone. What if a Grey Cup was decided on that? He had such a problem with that. And I'm like, well, that's in the rules. Who cares? But I guess he and people of that mindset complained so much that they did eventually change it. But that's the one thing with these. You have to, I guess, trust your leaders, whether it's in government, which I shouldn't have stepped in that trap, or sport, or your whatever, to do the right thing. Otherwise, people will sit and bitch forever and we won't get anywhere. And so this is what the owners have said. This is what we're doing. But I'm still seeing and hearing the bitching. And probably they're not wrong. The amateur football people going, well, what about our goalposts? What about our field? And we weren't consulted. They're not wrong.
They're not
That's
wrong.
my thing. I mean, no, they're not wrong.
Again, it's that, and you said it way back when they first announced it, stop peeing on my head and tell me it's raining. There's no reason to shrink the field to the 50 yards unless you think, oh, we want to expand and the 50-yard field will fit in more stadiums. That's the only reason to do it. Don't give me it's a better game. How can it be a better game? No, stop.
No.
Call me a dumpty, call me what you will. Just doesn't make sense.
Well, now we're getting into a point where I think there is more behind this that they don't want us to know. And then that gets me in trouble and it really just pisses me off. So for that matter, I'm going to stop right here and we'll get to the viewer questions when we come back. We are live across Canada on the Game Plus television network. The head coach of the Argos, Mike Miller, coming up in hour 2, by the way. 902-518-3033, the text line. Back after this.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's what we call Football Friday. We ask the viewers to please respect that. Kevin, the medium, is with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast, but we will interrupt this for the Junior Hockey Report for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw, just to say tonight there are 4, 8, 9 games, including the pesky Warriors, are at Wenatchee tonight. God's team, the Regina Pats, are home to the Red Deer Rebels, all part of a 9-game slate. Check it out at WHL.ca. And if you're in Moose Jaw, check out the Mad Greek Eatery. For legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late-night bites, it's the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Johnny Atreides, the Mad Greek, tells me, Kev, that they go through, I want to say, like 6 gallons a day of the Greek sauce that they put on their ribs. And I'm like, and I still can't get enough of it at the Mad Greek in Moose Jaw. Go ahead.
Every time you talk about the Mad Greek, I'm like, okay, I'm moving to Saskatchewan. I'm going to be in Maple Creek. What is that, 4-hour drive to Moose Jaw? When you're in Moose Jaw this summer, if you come back to Moose Jaw this summer, we're going to the Mad Greek because I literally salivate. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want the ribs.
I'm salivating right now, actually. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Johnny Atreides, for being part of this program. By the way, it is NFL Wildcard Weekend. Our poll question is, will there be an upset this weekend? 100% of respondents are saying yes. The only question is, we don't know which one it'll be. And I'll spend more time. I'll do the picks next hour along with my NHL picks. I picked 7 of 12 correct last night, which is in the money, but not as good as I would like it to be. On this Football Friday, Wayne in Winnipeg writes in, he says, hey, Rod, great start to 2026. The report cards may be important for the player associations, and that's okay, but let's have a report card filled out by fans about the team operations and coaches. I would say the report card is social media, Facebook, you buying tickets, sports talk radio. There's enough report cards out there for the fans, Kev. Agree or disagree?
Agree. You know, something in my head tells me when I was a season ticket holder with the Stamps, and Jeff, the Stamps fan, could probably back me up on this. I think they sent out a survey every year that you could fill out. I mean, obviously, it's not the 78-page or 78-question survey that the players get, but it's something.
All these surveys. I got to move on from this because I'm starting to get triggered. Here's why. Because I had a team owner that was always on my ass about something when I worked for the team. Always on my ass about something. And we sent out a survey to the fans. I don't want to say any more. Well, I'm going to say more, but I'm not going to give any names or even what sport it was. But I pulled the marketing guy aside. I said, this guy is up my ass again today. Let me tell you something. Was there anything about the radio on that survey about the radio broadcast? He goes, yeah, they were all 10 out of 10. I'm like, I know it. So what's this prick up my ass for? Oh, no, it's just your day. Oh, okay, great. Okay. Vancouver Eric writes in and he says, after every game, the Lions send a survey to season ticket holders. Did you know that, Ken? Yeah. That's your team. You knew that?
Maybe that's where I got it from. It was somewhere, yeah.
Shane in Deer Valley writes in, he says, I think they should keep a 5-yard halo behind the goalpost to still allow for missed field goal returns. Well, the goalposts are going to be moved to the back of the end zone, so it ain't going to matter, right? Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in, I'm at a point now where I'm willing to just read any question. As long as they're football related, and with Kev with me, I'll read them.
But did that guy just suggest putting the goalpost in the middle of the end zone now? Is that what that was? Pretty much.
Kind of, yes. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, curious, if the Bills win the Super Bowl, is it kind of tainted since they didn't have to go through Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar? No, Jeremy, come on. Not at all. Now is their actual chance. It's not tainted. Name me a Super Bowl that is tainted other than the Baltimore Ravens with Trent Dilfer at quarterback. Maybe. Because he's not. You win a Super Bowl? There's no easy way to win a Super Bowl. Come on, man. You know better than to ask that question. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, yeah, let's not have a fan survey. Again, we do that every day. So there's no
Yes.
need. Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, can the Packers win on a Saturday night? Prime time game. 2 losses the past 2 Saturday nights. Can the Packers win Saturday? I say yes. What do you think? Well, I'm glad that I read this leading up to the show. And by the way, our picks from the Canadian Press are right up at rodpedersen.com right now. Brought to you by Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. What if the Packers lost 4 in a row going into the playoffs? And if they lose this game, they're saying head coach Matt LaFleur might be fired. They split the season series against the Chicago Bears. They met twice. Each team won once. But they're going on the road. You're saying, can they win? Of course they can win because they're in the game. But the Chicago Bears won the division. And so the question is, that would be an upset. Green Bay's favored by 1.5 going into Chicago. Kevin said earlier that he thinks Jacksonville beating Buffalo will be the upset. And I think it'll be the Steelers beating Houston. And I felt like spending more time on this later, but I can do it now. I just don't think that you bet against Mike Tomlin ever, especially in his own stadium, nor Aaron Rodgers for that matter. Ryan McCarthy checking in from upstate New York and says, good day, Rod Squad. Happy Football Friday to those who observe. Oh, Ryan, you've missed a lot. You might want to rewind. Seabass writes in and says, hey, guys, I'm not afraid to ask big boy questions, but this is the biggest miss in NFL history by not having the Packers versus Bears on Prime instead of Fox. You actually think that's the biggest miss in NFL history? What? Come on, man. Have you seen the NFL ratings, by the way? They're higher than they've ever been. They could play at midnight on Tuesday, and they'll get 25 million people watching minimum. It's not. Come on. You're looking for something. That's almost a Kevin Hughes-ish hot take. I hate hockey.
Oh, boy. You know what? After the show yesterday, I still had people messaging me saying, so you meant to post that? And I was like, oh my people.
You were just trying to get a reaction.
Yes, I had someone going to kick me out of a football forum on Facebook because, or a hockey forum on Facebook because I posted that.
Kevin says he hates hockey because Canada lost in the semifinal at the World Jays. It is what it is. Wayne, this is the one problem, and it's not these people watch every day, but they get off track. Like Wayne in Winnipeg writes, and he says, how about changing to metric? 100 meters is equal to 110 yards with 10-meter end zones. Americans and Canadians have a lot of trouble converting metric to imperial. Americans will think it's NFL. We didn't say what rules do you think they should change. We didn't say that. We said of the rules they are changing, how's it going to impact the game? They're introducing some for 2026, even more in 2020. But I understand that fans like to sit back and go, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. That's not what we're asking. This is not an open house. This is not a town hall. Yeah. And these guys are talking about the television and what games were more. If you don't have it at home, go to a damn sports bar. People, please stop with the complaining about can we stop with the complaining? Kev, it's all about positivity, right? We have a minute and a half. Did he freeze? Is that Kev or is that Kev? He is officially frozen. Okay. No, it's okay. His time's done anyways. So Kev, I should do a, what do you have to say, Kev? Positivity is us in 2026. I speak to dead people. Cavalli channeling is his official business, by the way. Sorry, that's just me filling time. Yeah. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, yeah, if you don't have it at home, be a pirate and have it at home. He's saying steal the signal. I mean, it's 2025, bro. I see the bitching about the Blue Jays games once every 2 months. It's on Apple and people are going, go to a sports bar, order some nachos. Can we take a day off from complaining, please? It's the biggest NFL weekend of the year, Wildcard Weekend. Go to a sports bar, round up some buddies, have a watch party at somebody's house who has Prime. It's exhausting doing the thinking for everybody. We'll be coming back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. The head coach of the Toronto Argonauts is going to be with us, Mike Miller, in hour 2, and that's going to be fantastic. We'll be right back here across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV and 1700 WQVZ radio.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hi, welcome back to a Football Friday, everybody. Now we're opening it up. Although we do have some questions that have come in for Kevin the Medium, the frozen Kevin the Medium, who I think is still watching the show. I'll get to those in a second, but I just want to read off some sponsor things. Hey, be part of the team. Be just like us. Grab your RP Show merchandise now at rodpedersen.com. Click on RP Store and order yours. 40 million readers can't be wrong, can they? That's a fact. We have the data to back that up. Speaking of sponsors, Glenn from the Queen City, Glenn with 2 N's, writes in. He says, damn. This is on the Western Dodge text line. He says, now you got me wanting to go down the highway to Moose Jaw for Mad Greek ribs. They're that good. And you know that, Glenn. They're the best ribs I've ever had. 6 gallons, at least, of that Greek sauce. Johnny Yatridis goes through the mag. Ask him if it's 6 gallons. Rod was saying, is it 6 gallons? See what he says. Laverne writes in. Hey, Laverne, where's Shirley? From the Frontier City says, good day, RP and Kevin. So I watched Ole Miss in Miami last night, and it was a really good game. That's the Fiesta Bowl. Chambliss's last drive showed a lot of no quit. Glad Saskatchewan has Trinidad Chambliss on their radar. Like you said, Rod, he sure seems like a CFL quarterback. I was a little disappointed in his play last night. Not really his fault. If you noticed, he was running for his life most of his night. No protection, was going up against the best defense in the country. But you got a little snippet of maybe the Saskatchewan Roughriders' future last night in Trinidad Chambliss. There is some Tracy Ham in him. Last night, he looked more like Nealon Green, and that's not an insult, but it's not Tracy Ham. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in, says, thanks, Rod, for clarifying that you'll talk rule changes on Football Friday, LOL. I'll talk them on a Friday in January because that's when we talk football, but don't even come near me with them any other day out of the week. El Sasco writes in, hi, Reverend Rod and Hat King Kevin. Does K-Dog support the CFL increasing amount of timeouts to supplement the play clock change? 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! Signed, Vintage Sasco. I'm going to push that until next hour. Mike Miller will be joining us, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, and I'm excited to chat with him about a lot of things. I don't know. I mean, the question will be, how big of a change will it be in how you do business? Because he's an offensive guy going from the 20-second clock to the 35-second clock. There's a football nerdy question for you that he would be the best guy to answer that to. I don't think it's going to affect the length of games, do you? NFL has a 40-second play clock, and they're about the same time length, time window as CFL games. Is it a small change? Is it a big change? I don't know. I've never been out on the field. But we'll put it to the head coach of the Argos. And then there's some comments coming in about the rule changes and what's behind it. I don't want to get into that. Let's just take people at their word. What the hell? It's never steered us wrong, right? Don't. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. 3 games on the NHL schedule tonight with Winnipeg, the lone Canadian team in action. The Jets entertain the LA Kings, trying to snap a franchise worst 11-game winless skid. Also tonight, it's Washington at Chicago, St. Louis at Utah. Last night I was, 7 of 12 on picks. Not great, but still in the money, the betting guys say. The Toronto Blue Jays avoided arbitration with 3 players last night, signing outfielder Dalton Varsho, infielder Ernie Clement, and catcher Tyler Heineman to 1-year deals. Varsho agreed to $10.75 million, Clement to $4.6 million, and Heineman to just over $1.2 million. Pitcher Eric Lauer remains headed for an arbitration hearing. We've got news on major leaguers from other teams that we'll get to next hour when we go across Nevada on Silver State. The Toronto Raptors may be shorthanded tonight in Boston with Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram both listed as questionable against the Celtics. Barnes is dealing with a sprained right knee while Ingram has a sprained right thumb as Toronto brings a 3-game win streak into the matchup. And that there is your sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store is your fan cave headquarters. And by the way, I got this Pittsburgh Steelers quarter zip. I'm a big fan of the quarter zips. I got a whole closet full of them. Every team, every league. And I got it at the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. So if you want to support your team on this NFL Wildcard Weekend and you're missing some gear, head on down there, flood the place, tell Billy that the RP show sent you. That would help us out a great deal too. What do we have here? Jeremy writes in, he says, college semifinals plus wildcard weekend, fantastic week. Oh, Jeremy, you haven't been watching all week. We opened the week talking about this. There are many who feel this weekend right here is the greatest weekend on the football calendar yearly. And Scruffy and I talked about it. It was either Monday or Tuesday. I brought up the Wildcard Weekend, 6 playoff games. I mean, it's been a wild, unbelievable year as it is. Historic scoring, last minute finishes in the NFL, but now the games. Now it's win or go home. That's been fantastic. Scruffy threw in the fact that we got the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl, which have been great too. But I kind of fooled around with this as being our poll question today. I didn't settle on that, but I was going to say, what's the best sports football weekend of the year? Because I think it's Banjo Bowl weekend because it's kickoff week in the NFL, which there are no buys. It's rematch weekend from the CFL Labor Day matches, plus week 2 of college football and Canadian University. What's better than that? That's the best weekend to me, Banjo Bowl weekend. But I'm also willing to hear the debate and not willing to argue about it. Well, there you go. Jeff in Toronto writes in. He says, week 1 is the best football week after waiting months for football. Well, you're an Argo fan, are you not? You get what I'm saying. That's like week 11, 10, probably 11 of the CFL season. So we're talking about the same weekend, but we've been playing football all summer, in case you weren't noticing. Okay, thank you, Jeremy. He says week 1 is definitely up there, but week 1 doesn't compare to playoff football. And I'm not willing to argue about it. We all have our opinions. That's what makes it great. It's like comparing pizza and ice cream. They're both amazing. And incidentally, I had both last night, and it was amazing. The poll question is, will there be an upset this weekend on Wildcard Weekend? 100%. This is setting a new record, by the way, for poll results. 100% of respondents saying, yeah, there'll be an upset. The question, of course, is which game will it be? And we'll spend far more time on that coming up in hour 2. And the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, Mike Miller, is going to be joining us as well. And that's kind of funny. Jim Barker couldn't make it today because of a scheduling conflict. He and our business manager, Joe Gunnis, ended up lining up Mike Miller, the head coach of the Argos. And Joe was like, I didn't think I needed to ask you, Rod. No, you didn't need to ask. We're good. Anytime you have a pro football coach coming on, you don't need to ask me ahead of time if it's okay. And it's funny because when he was hired, apparently Mike Miller said to Jim Barker, now that I'm a head coach, do you think I can get on the Rod Pedersen Show? Don't think I'm not going to ask Mike Miller about that. And I have a question about that. Sometimes I'm very surprised at how they even found this at all. I'm not joking. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Okay, I'll read it. I'll read it because he's a P1 and he loves us. Bob in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, again, I'm a 19-year season ticket holder of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I go to all regular season games. I drive from Med Hat. Please leave the field measurements alone. Change the goalposts for safety. Have a great day. Okay, I think we're taking this bitching about the rules too far. This was not meant to be an open forum today for complaining about the new CFL rules. They're not changing. Okay, they have changed them. These guys aren't going to go, oh, we screwed up. Oh, we pissed off the fans. It's like when your power bill goes up or any of the property tax increases in your city. Oh, people are pissed off. Oh, we're not going to do it now. Sorry, our bad. Yeah, that never happens. It's not going to happen here either. College football, Miami is heading home from the Fiesta Bowl today. The Hurricanes will play for a national championship on their home field for a 5th time. They'll face Oregon or Indiana in the college football title game, January 19th at Hard Rock Stadium. That's 40 miles as the crow flies from here right now. Miami's quarterback Carson Beck ran for the go-ahead touchdown last night in the Fiesta Bowl in the Hurricanes' 31-27 victory over Mississippi. Miami 3-1 in previous home national title game appearances. Coach Mario Cristobal says the team knows the time is now. And it's funny because I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying, what's Miami going through right now? What's the South Florida region going through? Well, you're seeing everybody wearing Miami gear. You're seeing buildings with the Miami logo up. So there's some in downtown Miami that have all their lights flipped in a U. That's all very cool. This morning in the gym, everybody's wearing their Hurricane gear. But I will tell you this. I've said many times, there are 5 sports talk radio stations in the region. You turn them all on, they're talking about who should coach the Dolphins and who should quarterback the Dolphins. And we find out today that the next GM of the Dolphins apparently has been named or is going to be the assistant GM in Green Bay. I can't remember. We don't know who these guys are. John, something. It's always football number one. But the question is, what are they talking? Again, pizza or ice cream? Are you talking Dolphins? You talking Hurricanes? Usually it's whoever's winning or whoever's looking for a coach. We'll be coming back with hour 2 after this, and the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, Mike Miller. Stick around, everybody. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Previously on Landman. Oh, wait, wrong show. This is even better. It's a Football Friday. It's the RP Show. As always, airing across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus TV network. We're welcoming in the state of Nevada, the Silver State, and all the Las Vegas residents watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. It's another very special show today. Well, they're all special, but extra special today because we have the former, but it was the offensive coordinator with the Arizona Cardinals. He'll sort that out with it. Mike Miller, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, will be with us. Former NFL coach in Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Arizona, and in the CFL with Montreal, and now the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, Mike Miller, coming up in the next segment on this Football Friday, where more than ever before, we're going to be inviting audience participation today. We get, as they say, a long ways to go, a short time to get there. So I'll tell you how we're going to invite audience participation. The NFL's Wildcard Weekend is at hand. Many feel it's the best weekend of the year on the football calendar. It features a rematch of the 2022 NFC Championship game. Remember that one? Eagles-Niners. Two division rivals facing off, Packers, Bears, in Chicago. A team with a losing record playing a home game, Carolina, and 4 road favorites. 6 playoff games. I can be convinced that this is the best weekend of the football season. I do still say that week 11 of the CFL year is better because it's week 1 NFL. Yeah, I explained that last hour. But either way, they're both fantastic. And so there's always a upset on Wildcard Weekend in the National Football League. Just like there's always, as we've seen now, an upset in round 1 of this college football playoff, 12-team bracket. There's always an upset on the quarterfinal day at the World Junior Hockey Championship. That's the poll question today for our friends at EMJ Marketing, which, by the way, from impactful speakers to strategic marketing, EMJ Marketing is your all-in-one solution. Visit them at emjmarketing.com. We're asking the viewers of the Rod Pedersen Show, the Rod Squad, will there be an upset this weekend? 100% of viewers saying yes, there will be. The question is, what's the upset going to be? And by now, I would think you all know what the games are, but I'll run through them again. We're going to go to the very end of the schedule for my upset pick of the weekend. But Saturday, it's a doubleheader. It's the LA Rams at Carolina. The Rams favored by 10.5. The Rams, the road team, are the whopping favorites at Carolina. That's the first playoff game. Saturday night, Green Bay is the road favorite by only 1.5 as they go into Chicago, and many are feeling that will be the upset. The Bears will win at home. Sunday, a tripleheader, Buffalo at Jacksonville. Our Hour 1 co-host, Kevin the Medium, says this will be the upset. The Bills are favored by 1.5. He thinks the Jaguars are going to win in the first of the tripleheader. The middle game is San Francisco at Philadelphia. The Eagles favored by 5.5 on Sunday. And the Sunday night game, the Sunday nighter, is the Chargers at the Patriots. New England favored by 3.5. I feel like we all think New England's going to pull that out at home as the favored team. And then Monday night, the Houston Texans are the favorites by 3 points on the road in Pittsburgh. And yes, I know, we all know the Steelers got in by the skin of their fingernails, if that's a thing. That's my upset, that the Steelers will win, because I don't bet against Mike Tomlin. I don't think they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl, but they can beat C.J. Stroud and the Texans. And you also, I don't think, want to bet against a motivated Aaron Rodgers. So anyways, that's the one thing. Who do you think will be the upset? Is it one game? Is it more than one? Darcy's watching in Grand Prairie. Writes in 902-518-3033. He says, my upset of the week is Panthers over the Rams, 35-32. You're not alone, Darcy. There are those. Kenny Nagunst from 806 Sports in Texas came on this show, Amarillo, Texas, and said that the Panthers will be the surprise team this year. Yes, I wanted to submit him for a drug test, but dagnabbit, didn't you know it? Kenny was right. I was thinking about this the other day. He also said Patrick Mahomes is the most overrated quarterback in NFL history. We had viewers writing in saying Kenny's the most overrated guest you've ever had in our P show. And then all of a sudden they miss the playoffs. Maybe Kenny's right. Rob's watching in the Queen City and writes in, he says, hey, Rod, I hope the upset is Niners over Eagles. Well, as my accountant says, hope is not a plan. Hoping don't get you too far. Anyways, the picks are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Point two, we skipped over this at hour one, so we'll spend a little more time on it here. Of the Quick Six show topics here on Game Plus TV and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. While John Harbaugh quickly became the most sought-after head coach this cycle after he was fired by Baltimore Tuesday night, many NFL teams are seeking the next Sean McVay or the next Kyle Shanahan. The young up-and-coming coordinators usually get most of the attention. With 8 openings around the NFL, there's plenty of opportunities for rising candidates to emerge. Sean McVay became the youngest coach in the history of the NFL when the LA Rams hired him in 2017 at the age of 30, and he's still going. How about that? He has led them to 1 Super Bowl title in 2 appearances, 4 NFC West championships, 7 playoff berths, and 8 winning seasons in 9 years. So I had written in all caps, would you hire a first-time head coach? And I was going to put that to Kevin, the medium, last hour, but we ended up getting onto CFL things because he's more of a CFL guy anyways, and that is our Canadian hour. So we skipped this. We're now in the U.S. hour on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and still on Game Plus TV. I would not hire a first-time head coach. If I was the owner, and I really think they got as much pull as the GMs. Shoot, here in Miami, they don't even have a GM. And that, by the way, was what everybody saw. Everybody asks me, what are they saying down there in Miami? What are they saying in South Florida? They're very fired up about John Harbaugh coaching the Miami Dolphins. And it's like, he's not even, last I checked, he hasn't been hired yet. Last hour we talked about this with the Miami Hurricanes going to the national championship. They won the Fiesta Bowl last night, going for their 6th national championship. Be playing at home Monday, January 19th. People are saying, what's Miami going through? No, they're very excited. It's very cool. You're seeing the U up on buildings everywhere, people wearing their Hurricanes gear, but they're also talking just as much about the Dolphins, if not more, about they don't have a coach, they don't have a quarterback, and they don't have a GM. Because Tua's going to be gone. He wants out. They want him out. I have a tough time understanding the exuberance. But that's football fans for you. Hey, Carlos in Indianapolis writes, and he says, somebody has to start somewhere. Hey, I'm not saying it's wrong. Somebody had to give me a chance at one time as I was hired at the age of 26 as the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, having never stepped on a football field in my life. And that worked out okay. Hey, I'm not anti-giving somebody a chance. I'm just saying I wouldn't, especially if I was Stephen Ross, the head coach of the Dolphins. They got to get this right. Arlen Bruce writes in, the former Kansas City Chief and 2-time Grey Cup champion. He writes in, he says, great show, family. I think the Jaguars upset the Bills. The Big Ten team will win the national championship. He says, Indiana Hoosiers, I bet a loony and a toonie on it. Okay, he's got Indiana winning the Peach Bowl tonight, which we haven't even got to, Oregon, Indiana, and I'm not sure that we will. Jeff in Toronto writes in with regards to would you hire a first-time head coach, which, by the way, Mike Miller is joining us in the next segment. He's the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. He's been in this perilous football trade for 30 years, and this is the first time he's taken over a team as a head coach. He's coached in the NFL, XFL, NFL Europe, every league. And he's a head coach for the first time, Mike Miller of the Toronto Argonauts, coming up in the next segment. Anyways, Jeff in Toronto says, it depends. If I was rebuilding, I wouldn't mind a first-time head coach. If I had a good roster, then I would want an experienced head coach. I'm pretty sure I will never be hiring a head coach, so my opinion should go out the window. But what they were saying on the radio this morning here, Joe Rose, my guy, y'all want to know what Joe Rose has to say. He's like, Brian Flores had never been a head coach before. That hadn't worked out. Mike McDaniel had never been a head coach before. That hadn't worked out. It always goes on the coach. That's why I wonder why anybody would even want to be a coach. You know, look at the Raiders. Look at the teams that are just recycling coaches all the time. Oh, and by the way, it's funny. Did you happen to see Tony Dungy's post to social media this morning? He's all up the Ravens' ass for firing John Harbaugh He's like, good luck finding a better coach than him. Oh, my God. You would think there would be more talk about the games this weekend than there is about the coaching carousel, but they're both fun. Again, pizza, ice cream, pizza. They're both amazing. What do you want to talk about more? Ted writes in, he's watching in a Red Deer. He says, Sean McAvoy was hired, but he also brought an experienced staff. For example, McVay and Wade Phillips. So I don't know why I got lost there. The glasses slipping down my nose. 902-518-3033, by the way, is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Laverne's watching in the Frontier City, writes in. He says, FYI, in 2019, there were also 8 new NFL coaches. 2019 had 8 new head coaches as well. He lists them off here, and I'm not going to go down that. Let's just say the only one still there in the same place is Matt LaFleur with Green Bay. Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. Shoot, he just got fired in Washington. Forget about Arizona. Oh, 2 coaches are still in the same place. Zach Taylor with Cincy. Freddie Kitchens in Cleveland. Vic Fangio in Denver. Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, which the rumor is he's fired if they don't win in Chicago Saturday night. Miami here, Brian Flores, rumored to be the next coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. The Jets, Adam Gase, and Tampa Bay's Bruce Arians. So you might have seen the memes going around. 25% of NFL head coaches have been fired, which doesn't surprise me at all. You know what surprises me the most? The NHL hasn't fired a coach yet. There's not been one coach fired yet in the NHL. At this time last year, I believe there were 5 fired by this point last year, if you can believe. It is 1:11 Eastern for those that observe. Thinking of you, Carlos, in Indianapolis. Visualize a positive outcome. It works. Really seems to work for Mike Tomlin. Brent in the Bridge City. Brent in the Bridge City writes in. He says, Dan Campbell was hired as a first-time head coach for the Lions. So far, so good with that. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm not saying that. Again, everybody's got to get their start somewhere, sometime. Tony in Cochrane writes in. He says, Kevin Stefanski seems to be leading the interview requests so far, but we haven't seen the Harbaugh requests yet. Again, that's if you believe everything that's going around. I'm way too far jaded on this end of the scale, and you guys are way too gullible on that end of the scale. Probably the right somewhere in the middle with what you believe. Do we really believe that the agent for John Harbaugh got 7 phone calls the night that he was fired? 7? I don't believe that. I believe that's just an agent doing his job. Prove it. Which they would never do. So anyways, what I'm asking you, and it's actually got a lot of great reaction here, is would you hire a first-time head coach or would you hire a recycled vet? And the fact that Tony Dungy is crapping all over the Ravens for firing John Harbaugh is just a coach sticking up for another coach. That doesn't surprise me either. They do it all the time. I would be surprised if he wasn't saying that. And also, what's the upset you think will happen this weekend? There's going to be at least one. There's 6 games. And there's always at least one. Mine is Houston losing at Pittsburgh. Houston is the road favorites, favored by 3 going into Pittsburgh. Mike Miller coming up in the next segment, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. By the way, I had written here, because we talked about this last hour, these CFL report cards from the Players Association that came out. Hamilton Tiger Cats rated the best in the league by their players, the BC Lions the worst. I'm so skeptical and weary of that. But I heard this morning Mike Florio saying that the owners in the NFL hate the player report cards. Well, of course they do. It makes them look bad. Point. Do you think the CFL owners are any different? Point 4, the college football playoff semifinal at the Peach Bowl is a celebration of the Big Ten's strength with the number 1 seed Indiana facing number 5 seeded Oregon. The game is a rematch. Indiana won at Oregon 30-20 back on October 11th to hand the Ducks their only loss. Indiana is undefeated. Each team is coming off dominant wins. Indiana overwhelmed Alabama 38-3 in the Rose Bowl, and the Ducks shut out Texas Tech 23-0 in the Orange Bowl. It don't matter. We're all going to be watching, of course, the Peach Bowl tonight in Atlanta. The winner comes to Miami to get motorboated by the Miami Hurricanes. Come on. By the way, sign up for free for the Rod Squad newsletter at rodpedersen.com. It's brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. We got Mike Miller, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, coming up next. If you have questions for him, all you Argos fans, get him in. 902-518-3033 or the YouTube chat, and we'll be right back. We're live across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and as always, across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV. Also podcast at 1700 WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. The RP Show is brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. And I erred by asking for questions from the viewers, Coach. I erred. I just got a tidal wave of questions for you from the viewers. But welcome to the RP Show, Coach Mike Miller of the Toronto Argonauts. Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you, Rod, and Happy New Year to you too, buddy. Really excited to do this. Jim asked me about it yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, but big fan of the show. We often have it on in the office in the afternoon, and from the ringing the bell to the kazoo to, all your comments, you get the room laughing. So really excited to be here today.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. Well, nice to meet you. And by the way, Coach Barker said that you had said, now that you're a head coach, can you get on the RP Show? And I wondered, how does he even know about us? But I guess you just explained that. I got a lot of great friends in that Argos organization. But, Coach, listen, I said it earlier, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Arizona, coaching in the NFL, Montreal and Toronto in the CFL, and various other leagues. You waited 30 years to be a head coach. You've had the job for a month. How's it feel?
It feels good. I mean, it's just the next step. Different things. Like I was just doing some scheduling yesterday and things like that you're not familiar doing. It was a tough part at first. I mean, you're putting together your staff. And a lot of times, as I said, I mean, you come into this from the outside, and I had been here before. So it's had some hard conversations, hard decisions to make. But, in the end, I was happy how that all came together. And I guess we had our announcement for that yesterday. But just as we do everything else, Rod, one day at a time, buddy.
Yeah, that's what my bracelet says right here. You have to. Well, at least I have to. That's the way that it works. But I got to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you some fun NFL questions too, but like the CFL, as you clearly know, there's just something about it. There's something about it. What is it that you love about the CFL?
So it's so funny you asked that, because when I was in Buffalo, I crossed over with Marv Levy a little bit, and we had a chance to talk about his experience there. And he actually recommended, if I ever get a chance as an offensive guy, to make sure I get a chance to work up there because of the creativity that it allows, the imagination. And boy, was he right. That part is what I really enjoy. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's the moving guys everywhere and creating matchup issues. And it's just exciting game. I mean, it's the two downs, and then there's all these possession changes. And I just kind of feel up here, you're never really out of it. And you have to play this game all the way to the end, and that I really like.
Well, let me ask you a technical question, and then we'll get to the fun questions. Like with the 35-second play clock, you've been in all the leagues, so I wouldn't think it would be a huge adjustment, but how big of an adjustment is it? Because in 2026, after 100 years of a 20-second play clock, we're going to a 35-second play clock in the CFL. How big of a change is that going to be for everybody?
Well, I mean, I guess we're going to have to find out. I mean, how fast they're going to start that, how far our players have to go to get to that huddle. I mean, we play on a bigger field up here. And I know, the refs were always, I thought, pretty fair about that, about when they would start that play clock. So I don't know. We're just going to have to see how it goes and be ready to adjust to it.
I'll dip into some viewer comments here now because I asked for them. I gotta answer it or placate them. Is it sure. Ryan? Oh, it's Paul in Humboldt. Sask writes in. He says, "Who is Coach Miller's head coach role model?" I got a guess, but do you want to answer it?
So yeah, that's pretty funny. In fact, I said it's Corey, I believe, that I was talking to. And I said, hey, he's got a Steeler jersey on, or a Steeler sweater on today. Yeah, for sure. Bill Cowher is a huge mentor of mine. There's another guy, his name was Dan Radakovich, who he went by Bad Rad. He unfortunately has since passed, but Rad coached with Joe Walton, who was a former head coach of the New York Jets, both Pittsburgh guys, as I am. And worked at Robert Morris with them. But then it was Bill Cowher who I got to watch as a front office intern. I was in PR, media, and operations, and went into scouting in the off season. And that's to say I drove guys to their physicals or wrote down their reports. And but it was Coach Cowher who I learned a great deal from. And one of the things that always jumps off the page to me is something that Coach Cowher displayed to us was, you'll never meet anybody that almost ran to adversity like he did. Always next man up, or, okay, what's our answer to this? Almost like you could feel he gained energy from it. And that was something I learned from, that it's about us finding a way to get it done. And, of course, the intensity he has about playing the game and doing business the right way. And, of course, smart, fast, and pride in your physicality is something that I learned from him.
Mike Miller is with us, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. So I'm going to combine this with my comment and the viewer question. Ted in Red Deer says, hey, Coach Miller, how easy or hard was it to fill your staff as a first-time head coach? I smiled when I saw Greg Quick's name on there as your defensive coordinator, because we had him in Sask. I loved him, and I said he reminds me of Foghorn Leghorn. You're old enough. I say. He sounds like you. Clearly, you guys are pretty tight.
You know what? I had not known Greg other than handshake before the game. But somebody that I've watched from afar, have a lot of respect for Noel Thorpe and the defense that Greg was a part of and what they do there in Montreal. And was always difficult. You really have to dot your I's and cross your T's when you're preparing for that defense. So that was something that was very interesting to me, and went through the interview process, just became a very strong candidate. And then something that was very important to me, Rod, was putting together a culture with our coaching staff. Guys that have an agreed upon skill set, but are great teachers. And I like to think they're even better human beings. And because just like players, we ask that the adversity is going to come. And that's when you have to be able to pull together as a team, move together as one unit, and be there for each other, and all those things that it takes to have a positive culture. So that was part of it too. So it's nice to hear that your experience with Greg is very familiar with what everyone else had told me, and has certainly been a part of my experience here in this first month that we've had a chance to work together.
It's a small league. You better be a good guy. And, speaking of that culture, I asked Pinball once, I said, what's your secret? I don't think anybody's won more Grey Cups than Pinball. And he said, as a team,
won a
and he
bunch.
said,
I know that.
Right. Yeah. He said, we value people. And I'm like,
yeah,
say no more. I get it. So obviously that wasn't a hard mesh for you and your GM.
No, not at all. And that's been nice for me too, that I've been here for 4 years and have gotten to know Pinball and other members of our organization. And that's been great. And through the interview process, I think that was something that was a smooth process for he and I, that I believe we look at things the same way like that. Yeah.
Mike Davis vouched for you too. My Vegas guy. Not like I didn't do my research here. My good friend with the Las Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League team. Okay, here's one of my questions before I go back to the viewers. Tell me a Kurt Warner story, please. You went to the Super Bowl. He was your quarterback with the Arizona Cardinals. I love him, as well we all do. Tell me a great Kurt Warner story.
Well, you know what, Rod, I will say one thing I do want to say is Mike Davis in Vegas, I've only spoken to, but, have a tremendous amount of respect for the job he does. I don't know how he does it, but he finds these players that are just outstanding. And then same way, they're also great people. So those people down in Vegas, they've really got a great team to go support down there and a great coach. Kurt Warner story. So there are so many of them. I think maybe one so something that I talk about, there's a funny one, but there's one that kind of illustrates to me something that I learned from Kurt, because working with a guy like that, it was like getting a PhD in football every day. And as as good as we like to think we are at times, but there's always room to learn. And I believe in having a collaborative environment, and because we think we have a good starting point, but we're never finished products, right? So with Kurt, when he and I started working together my first year as the coordinator in 2009 after the Super Bowl, we try to have rules. And then learning from Sam Weiss, I said this at my press conference, we believe that we can try to get guys 97% of the way ready. And I said, well, Sam, why is it just 97, not 100? He said, well, it's because inevitably there are going to come plays in a game, they're going to exist in a 3% gray area. You just have to know how to apply the rules and stretch them to be able to be successful in those situations. So I immediately, when I worked with Kurt and we were developing our rapport and being disciplined in our rules and execution, there was a simple route that we had: 1 high, you threw to the right in this formation, and 2 high, you threw to the left. Well, it was a 1 high look, and Kurt threw it to the 2 high side. And as I turned around, I said, hey, why did you go to the 1 high side over there trying to maintain some accountability? And he said, well, I could see that the Will linebacker had his inside foot lined up inside the outside foot of that edge rusher. And I knew from there he couldn't get to that slot receiver. And with the safety that far off, I knew we were going to have a big play. Immediately, I thought of Sam. That's 3% right there that the great ones have to be able to operate. And I said, good point, Kurt. Great job. So
I was going to say, you guys collaborated. Yeah, you guys collaborated on an offense. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, we have our rules, but if they see something outside of it, but with a caveat, they better make it work. And Kurt certainly did make it work more times than he didn't. So we had a great time. I really enjoyed working with him, and it was great to see how a guy that caliber goes about preparation with that detail too.
Toronto Argonauts head coach Mike Miller with us. Here come the Bills fans. Where the hell is it? Jeff writes in from Toronto. He says, good afternoon, Coach. What did you learn from Mike Mularkey in Buffalo, and any memories of Bills Mafia?
Yeah, boy, I love my time in Buffalo. Mike was part of the crew when I went on with the Steelers as the quality control coach for 5 years, and then I went with Mike as the tight ends coach. Mike is just an outstanding human being, a great family man, very intelligent, technique, detailed, and his organization. So, and he has the same physical philosophy about playing this game. And Mike's big thing was we finished with 1 violent shove on offense. And that's something that I've carried with me too. And Mike's also a guy I stay in touch with and continue to pick his brain. The Bills Mafia, outstanding. I mean, that parking lot outside then, we called it Rich Stadium, looked like a Civil War encampment on Monday with the fires still going and garbage piled up around the light post. And they're just so intense. And we're great in the community. We're great in the community. And I miss them. I mean, they were great to play for. And look, I can appreciate too that if you're doing it right, they're going to let you know. And if you need to do it better, they're going to let you know that too. And it's a blue collar town that I respect coming from Pittsburgh. And I really enjoyed that environment. And I still pull for those guys too.
It's funny you say that because last hour, the viewers were saying the fans should get a report card like the players did for the owners. I said, you have one every Sunday when you're sitting in the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, I'm not saying I'm jumping on tables either, though, Rod.
You don't? That's not your thing?
I'm not taking that leap with them either. No, that's not my thing.
Okay. Mark in Burlington writes in, the wonderful community, Burlington, Ontario. Mark says, will Chad Kelly play? I understand he was at your news conference supporting you with that. So I guess you see him under center in week 1.
Yeah, we do. That's our mindset right now. Chad continues to go through his rehabilitation, getting strong, and we have no reason to believe at this time that he won't be our starting quarterback as we open training camp.
There are a lot of questions regarding you guys being kicked out of BMO Field because of the soccer. I'm trying to word them all together in one. All I will say is that's a challenge, and you've obviously gone to work already on how you're going to deal with that.
Yeah, sure. So, I've heard that when I was going through the interview process and had friends around the league or just in general saying, hey, that's not really ideal. And I said, yeah, no, it's not ideal. But the last I checked, that field is the same size everywhere else that it is here in BMO. And I said, outside of that, if we need to, we can use a silent count. And I'm always looking for ways to build mental toughness. And if a team is going to be able to say, hey, well, we had to play this many games on the road, well, that's not really the mental toughness answer I'm looking for, and I don't think that we're looking for from the Argonauts. It's not ideal, but it is what it is, and we play our schedule. And we're not looking for excuses, we're not looking for explanations, and we're not looking for complaints. We're going to be looking for answers and a way to get it done. And it's just going to cause for a greater focus. We got to have attention to detail in our preparation so that we have urgency in our execution, and that we go out and we play the game in a very physical way where we're going to take great pride in our ability to hit, because we want to be accountable. We want to be disciplined. We want to have that respect and trust, but then we want individuals that are going to come to work with great passion. And when you have that, it's just going to be an aggressive mindset of going out to compete, whether that's here at BMO, whether that's in the cold at Winnipeg or Sask, or in the dome at BC, or in that Labor Day contest that's always so tough in Hamilton. That this is passion in CFL from the fans, from the players, from the coaches, and we're looking forward to it.
You're firing me up right now, Coach. The Argos have always been my number 2 team. They might end up being my number 1 team by the time we're done here. Just a quick one. It's going to be fun watching you assimilate to the CFL fans and everything as they get to know you better. Bill writes in from Regina. He says, good morning, Coach. There are a number of Argo fans here in Sask. Is the team staying in Regina to practice before the Calgary game in June? I guess they want to come watch you practice.
I have not gotten that far yet, Hot Rod. So tell who was that wrote in?
Bill in Regina.
Tell Bill as soon as I get that answer, he's going to be the first to know.
Okay, there you go, Bill. I mean, you had a staff to name, a roster to go over. Trust me, I get it. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, Coach Miller has the Gruden voice. Yeah, I guess. Well, you're from Pittsburgh, right? Gruden's from St. Louis, so that's maybe. Is Pittsburgh considered Midwest or East?
Well, that's a big argument. Pittsburghers think we're in the East, but everyone else thinks we're the East part of the Midwest. So somewhere in there, I guess is the right
I don't
answer.
know. Yeah, exactly. Arlen Bruce writes in, 2-time Grey Cup champion, former KC Chief, says, Coach Miller is a genius when it comes to X's and O's. From my short time with Coach Mike, good luck this upcoming season, Coach. That's from Arlen Bruce. So we got all the famous people watching today. Yeah, Mike, that's it.
Kind.
Thanks for all you do. Congrats on the job, and go Argos. All the best in 2026.
Thanks, Rod. Yeah, I really appreciate it, Rod. Again, big fan of your show, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Coach. The great Mike Miller. Man, he's gained a lot of fans here, I think, in this interview. I appreciate him coming on and the support from the Toronto Argonauts and making it happen. We'll be coming right back with a sports update right after this and viewer takeover, Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Well, that was awesome. I want to thank everybody involved in getting Coach Mike Miller on the air. From the audience, live viewer comments here. Eric in Vancouver says, another great guest, RP. Thank you. This one was from Jim Barker and our business manager, Joe. Cody Fajardo was me. Paul in Humboldt writes in, he says, great interview with Coach Miller. Thanks, RP, for putting him on so we can get to know him. And from the frozen plains, we may hear Argos. Here's the thing. I don't mind putting these CFL guys on, especially when they have the NFL chops that Mike Miller has. But with our peeps, this is another day where everything aligns great. The Game Plus Toronto thing, the Nevada Silver State Sports thing. Those guys at Silver State Sports said, we don't care who you put on, just be entertaining. And I think that we've got that down. So thank you, everybody, for making that happen. Oh, and by the way, Fake Gainer. Sorry, you'll always be Fake Gainer to me. Vintage Sasko is what he wants to go by. He writes on Twitter, holy smokes, Mike Miller sounds like Brent Musburger. Also, solid-ass interview on the Rod Pedersen Show. Good luck to Coach in 2026. That's the one thing where I learned it. I'll tell you a little story. We were at the Press Box Sports Bar one night after a game, and I was sitting with Buck Pearson, Dave Dickinson, and Paul McCallum, and Rob Murphy, and I was out with a bunch of BC Lions guys, and I was me, the rider guy, and I'm like, we're having the best time, and I'm like, they're just like our guys. After decades in sports, it realized I never spent a lot of time with the competition because I largely hated them. But that night we're having a good time. Paul McCallum bridged the gap, and I'm like, these guys are they just happen to wear orange. You know? John in Edmonton writes in, he says, I wish Coach Miller was the coach for the Edmonton Elks. You got a great coach there, John. And I'll remember this day, January 9th, 2026. You're going to come back and go, oh, yeah, Rod was right. Mark Killam is an outstanding head coach in Edmonton. Here is your sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. The winner of the college football playoff semifinal, Peach Bowl tonight between number 1 Indiana and number 5 Oregon in Atlanta, already knows it's going to face a true road game in the national championship. Waiting in the January 19th Natty here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, will be number 10 seed Miami, who advanced with a 31-27 win over Mississippi, Ole Miss, Thursday night in the first college football playoff semifinal at the Fiesta Bowl. The Big Ten will be playing for its third straight title following Ohio State and Michigan the last 2 seasons. And here's the thing, the difference in the two countries. It's a big thing. Ole Miss was the last chance for the SEC to win the national championship, and they lost last night. So now it's going to be 3 straight years the SEC has not won. It's the longest time in 20 years they've gone without winning. And I'm like, does it really matter? But then I think about, well, the Memorial Cup, we sit here and go, how long has it been since the Dub won, or the O, or the Q? You know, it is a thing. It's the same mentality, just changed to the league and the country. So I get it. 2-time AL Cy Young Award winner Tarek Skubal asked for a record $32 million in salary arbitration, while the Detroit Tigers offered the lefty $19 million. Skubal was the most prominent of the 18 players who swapped figures with their teams this week. Those without agreements, because 3 Blue Jays agreed with the team last night, face hearings before 3-person panels from January 26th to February 13th. A 2-time All-Star, the 29-year-old Skubal will be eligible for free agency after this World Series. He is 54-37 over 6 Major League seasons. Seattle outfielder Randy Arozarena was among 148 players reaching deals, agreeing at $15.65 million. That's your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Your team, your colors, your gear. Get it all at Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. I got this there. It's funny, Coach Miller's like, he's got a Steelers top on today. I got them all, pretty much. And you can get them all at the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. That's where I do my shopping. I'd rather do it there than go online. Call me crazy. I'm old school. Overtime is coming up next here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada, and, of course, across Canada and 31 U.S. states on Game Plus TV, also YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. We're back for overtime, everybody. It's the final segment of the week. Shout out Wayne in Victoria writes in on the Western Dodge text line, says, well, it's another great Football Friday RP show. Have a wonderful weekend, Rod Squad. We still got 9 minutes to go, so hold on. Hold your horses. Time to do picks here in overtime for Overtime Hockey Lanes, where skill and fun collide. If you haven't checked them out yet, why not make that your New Year's resolution? That's an easy one. Just go down to 28th Street, Northeast Calgary, and have fun. You can thank me later. Tell Randy and Michelle that the RP show sent you. Helping out our sponsors makes life very good for us. So I was asking, among other things today, what's the upset going to be in the NFL Wildcard Weekend? And it seems like everybody's got a different one. I'm going to do my picks right now for Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Steakhouse, Weyburn. Come early, stay late, where friends meet. Greg is watching from Cowtown, writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, hey, Rod, yes, there will be an upset. I'll say Chargers over Patriots. You're the first to say that. But here's what I think is going to happen. Point spreads, bedamned. L'Orange. Wow. Los Angeles Rams. Got to be LAR. That's what I've got written down here. Not L'Orange. LA Rams at Carolina. Rams to win. Green Bay at Chicago. Hopefully Brent from Wellington's not watching because he's the biggest Packer fan I know. I got the Bears. That'll be an upset if they do, when they do. Buffalo at Jacksonville. Bills for me. They're favored by 1.5. San Francisco at Philadelphia. Eagles favored by 5.5. I got Philly. Patriots home to the Chargers. New England's favored by 3.5. I'm surprised it's not more. I'll take the Pats. And Houston at Pittsburgh, that also, to me, will be an upset. The Texans are favored by 3 Monday night in the Steel City. Pittsburgh for me. Okay, tonight's NHL games, there are only 3, and I'll remind you, last night I went 7 of 12. Not great, but still in the money. Washington at Chicago tonight, definitely a Caps win. Los Angeles Kings at the Winnipeg Jets. I think the Jets are going to win tonight. My God. Their 11 straight losses are already a franchise record. It ends tonight. Jets will win. And St. Louis at Utah tonight. I think it's time for the Blues to win. John Ohm is watching. Says there were sure a lot of Edmonton Oilers fans at the Winnipeg Jets game last night. Even met some fans from Switzerland. Hockey was great to see live. Oh, it always is. And there's a lot of Oiler fans everywhere. Just what they do. Tony writes in from Cochrane, George, Fox Country. He says, I love Wildcard Weekend. It's where the pretenders are shown who the contenders really are. Thank you, Rich from Edmonton, for the update. He says, off to Maui for 2 weeks to complete my recuperation. How about that? He says, be well, everybody. We'll be watching the show on delay. Oh, come on, get your ass out of bed. You can watch the show. I think it airs at 6 a.m. Hawaii time. I got friends over there that watch every day. If they can, you can, Rich. 902-518-3033 to empty out the text line. They really enjoyed the interview with the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts and the former offensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals, Mike Miller. Laverne in the Frontier City writes in, he says, Coach Miller seems like a solid soul. I bet the Argos have a great 2026 season. I'm shocked. I was going back reading the story on Mike Miller. They only had 5 wins. I guess they didn't have their number one quarterback. It tends to be a thing. Oh, and by the way, wait. You just wait. How long is he going to be, folks? Till the story hits the air. The meme. Chad Kelly will be our starting quarterback in week 1. I got to go back and see exactly what it was. But, yeah, you forgot about him, didn't you? The Argos have not. Wilf in Toronto writes in and says, Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba, where Moose is this week, by the way. Wilf in Steinbach writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, hey, Rod, good interview with Mike Miller. Reminds me of Mark Trestman. Is Jeff Reinbold back in the CFL? Yes, he is. Mahalo. Jeff Reinbold signed as the special teams coordinator of the Ottawa Red Blacks. It was announced yesterday, which is, I could get Reinbold on the show. Now is like his busiest time of the year because he starts doing NFL coverage for Fox, Sky Sports, Europe, Jeff Reinbold. But his contract just expired at the University of Hawaii. Won out a winner there, won the Hawaii Bowl. It wasn't looking good there for a while. Did you watch that? They were getting spanked at halftime. Big second half comeback, and the Rainbow Warriors won. And Reinbold gets a ring, another one, and now he's coming back to the CFL. Yes, you're welcome, John in Winnipeg. John Ohm. He says the Jets will win. Woohoo, Rod. Don't take that to the bank. I'm just saying they got to win sometime. And the LA Kings ain't exactly lighting the world on fire right now. Okay. What else do we have? Went through the NHL picks, went through our NFL picks. 10 games in the NBA tonight. That's a lot, including the Toronto Raptors at Boston. We're not going to do NBA picks. We'll save you all the heartache. Yeah, not doing cricket picks either. I know about the same amount as both. That's producer Corey talking in my ear. Also, the Phoenix Suns, which I've been led to believe is Nevada's NBA team. They're home to the New York Knickerbockers tonight. So anyways, been a great week. Thanks to all of you, the Rod Squad, for tuning in. We'll see you Monday right back here. Have a great weekend. And above all, be good to yourself. And thanks for watching right here on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 U.S. states and across Nevada on the mighty Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
That.